Who is our coach today?
I thought it was mine.
Oh, okay, so our coach is out, so I'm gonna hand you the mic, and it's all yours. Get the clicker too.
I hand this to you, but I'll let you know when to pass it around. Okay. All right. Hi, good morning, everybody. So my name is Amanda Jane, and I'm here to present about my business Seek and Become, which is essentially a facilitated quest. And we'll get into that in a second. So first, a little bit about me. Who am I? So my mission is to help people unlock the experience of their own unique magic, and I do that in a variety of different ways, partly by living/leading by example. So I have lived many lives myself, been through many existential crises, many pivots, both chosen and not. And so I am a writer and poet. I've been a trainer and coach for the past several years. I'm also a licensed clinical social worker, not currently practicing, in recovery, but it's still a thing. It's still a thing. And yeah, and so I have this I'm developing this personal brand that is really sort of about honoring the process of becoming your most authentic or integrated self and accepting all of the awkward, messy aspects of change and growth as you develop into who you want to be or who you are becoming. Which leads me to Seek and Become. So I created this as a product of my both lived and professional experiences. It's kind of like the artist way meets Dungeons and Dragons. So in my experience with pivoting and change and my own sort of personal growth and development, there's a lot that I learned through the process. And then when I would talk to people who are sort of in similar situations or who are seeking a similar kind of change or experience, as soon as I start talking about, inner work or sort of doing that sort of deeper internal reflection, their eyes would get really big and they'd be like, oh, I don't want to meet myself. What do you mean? That's so scary. So I was trying to think of ways to make it more fun. And so basically I've created an adventure style game that doesn't erase or diminish the fact that it can be really intimidating and very scary, but now I'm daring you to do it. And I'm making it fun with different challenges along the way. And so this is essentially a 7-level process. I call them gates. Each one explores a different aspect of self, and there are specific challenges within that to help you kind of have fun in exploring yourself and understanding different aspects of yourself. Yeah, so there's a couple of ways that I'm offering that currently. And so one is what I call the hunt, a scavenger hunt into your psyche. It's sort of like a free practice round. And right now it's set up as 7 emails over 14 days. And so because there's 7 gates, each one of the emails addresses and offers a small challenge or sort of a bite-sized aspect of one of the different levels that you would go through. And then at the end, the rewards that I offer for that are a discount offer for the PDF, which I'll pass around. Actually, Laura, if you want to start passing that around, you can. 3 playlists because music is my jam and it's fun. And so it's a way to sort of help. There's one it's for love, for hope, and for courage. So to sort of help motivate you on your journey. And then also the fruits of your effort. So if you've gone through the emails, if you've completed the challenges, you should have something that you've taken away from those that will help you in your own process. And then I have currently the map, which is getting passed around. It's a digital PDF, and so this is basically a prototype. And so it goes a little bit deeper. There's worksheet pages. The challenges are a little bit more robust, and there's more reflection questions. And so it's a sort of deeper dive that's self-guided that people can do that goes through these 7 levels. What I would like to evolve into is a game, like an actual game. And so right now I have an idea for an in-person version as a sort of promotional thing. I need to recruit some people to test it before I start doing these events. But I have a way of translating what I've created as a very individual experience into sort of group activity. And then I would love to eventually raise the money to develop a mobile game or an app. And so hire a developer who can help me create that so that it's something that people can do wherever they are. And there's some ways to sort of help with that accountability piece. And then the other thing that I'm planning to roll out is our one-on-one custom quests. So it's basically a one-on-one experience, kind of like coaching, but basically where once I assess what your specific situation is, I will create specific challenges. So this is where it can get really like very much like Dungeons and Dragons, where I'm basically creating specific challenges for you in your circumstances that are going to be fun and interesting as you sort of dive through one of the 7 levels. And so it's sort of meant to be a really deep dive into one aspect to keep it simple and focused. And so that's something that we'll be rolling out eventually. And then in terms of where things are at, so I launched this like 2 months ago, the end of June. And so it's been a slow build, which I anticipated, but I would love to pick up the pace with that a little bit. So right now for the email, I have 8 subscribers. There's a couple who are sort of actively going through it, a couple who have kind of gone through the whole 7 emails. I haven't had any PDF purchases yet. And so currently I'm operating on this, tying into the second one with the funding, very low shoestring budget. I am self-funded and my cash flow is a little stale at the moment. I'm working on it. But so I'm basically doing everything that I can that's free. So social media, I've posted flyers in different parts of this city, and then in Brooklyn, I was in Brooklyn visiting some friends. And so I took advantage and posted around there. And so basically my question to you is different ways to increase those numbers or sort of hone in on the message to get some better conversions. So that's sort of what I've been experimenting with and where I could use some help. And then with funding, because the business isn't generating cash flow yet, I'm having to really get creative and figure out how to keep that wheel turning, especially I'd love to do like social media ads. I just don't have the budget for it. And so if there are any creative fundraising or grant opportunities that you're aware of, that would be the other thing that I would love some insight and help around, things that I can do to sort of help either boost that or work around the funding limitation. So that's my super quick speech. Now I will take questions.
All right, so formal line over here, and here's the etiquette. When you ask a question, introduce yourself, your name, the company you're with, and point the microphone directly at your mouth. If you do this, no one can hear you. Okay, so do that. And we have our first people. Here you go.
I'm Brian Blondo. I'm a small business buyer. I'm looking for successful small businesses in the community that are ready to exit. And they would like their business to stay in the community. I'd like to look at it, consider purchasing it. That's what I'm doing right now. Are you associated with Cherry Street in Seattle?
No.
Okay, something on the website. So I'm one of your subscribers. One of your subscribers.
So
And I was looking at, and I just want, since it happened to be one of your subscribers, I want to tell you kind of how it feels.
yeah, thank you. Yes, please.
I think I picked up in one of the restaurants down in Knott Hill or something.
Oh, cool.
You might post down there the vegan hot dog place. Anybody know that place? Knott Hill? I think I might have seen it there. I'm not sure.
I've also given flyers to friends to scatter around, so
Okay, yeah.
they might have been it, so which is great. So
So I want to talk about that feeling of like
Yeah.
seeing your advertisements, and I felt like, wow, this is different. This is an adventure. And you could really feel it. But then I think I did the first email. And then your second email comes in and there's no really reference to my answer in the first email. Is that by design?
So it's a limitation. So I have it sort of metered out just because to custom each email for each subscription. Oh yeah, sorry. So that's basically it's just a current limitation. So the way I have it set up is pretty much, manual but metered. And so I'm monitoring the emails, but being able to custom tailor each email to each individual is not something that I have capacity for, and I don't have the tools. I don't have the subscriptions to the tools that would allow that. But I love that feedback because that would be a great thing I would love to be able to do that. But customizing at that level is just not something I currently have the capacity for.
I just want to make one more point that I do join a lot of these subscriptions and I really like to see how what style did they use to keep me coming back? And I expected kind of an AI iteration of what I'd written and come back and kind of talk to me. And when it was so impersonal, it was really hard to do the second one.
Okay.
And then the third one came in anyway, even though I didn't answer the second one. Okay, but I didn't know I was gonna run into you.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a little bit of feedback. I'm looking forward to it. I'll answer them now since I met you.
Yeah. No, that's really helpful. I've been having people for feedback because some of them are my friends and they're like, yeah, I'll get to it. So I appreciate, thank you for the feedback.
Hello, Miriam Ortiz-Pino, More Than Organized. I have two things now, because Brian just said something that I want to follow up on first and then get to my question. Not every autoresponder and email thing has AI to the level you're talking about. And I feel like you need maybe some guidance on the tech stack for delivering content through online services. So we can talk about that in the future, because there's a way to do both. Help him feel seen and heard, and also not have to meter or monitor it yourself.
Yeah.
Bring you up to the other things. So there's that. Second thing is the fastest way to the money is always to get a one-on-one client. So pick up the phone, start calling people, offer. I never ask people to do free sessions, but you can do sessions and just start creating a package or pricing for a series, walking them through, and you won't get a client. You can do it by the end of the week.
Okay.
Can you do it by the end of the week?
We'll find out.
Well,
Born in Arenado, evolved entrepreneur, but mostly teaching and guidance, mentorship. I'm the guy that reveals what people don't want. You said about marketing, it's D&D based. Have you reached out to the D&D community? D&D Beyond, Wizards, and all that.
It's not, I would say it's D&D inspired, not D&D based, but I like that idea. So yeah, thank you.
Well, excuse me. Hello, I'm Seamus Capping. This is a very widely applicable idea. But there's a lot of self-exploration for individuals to do, and to branch that into group settings is an admirable aim. Oh, how are you, have you considered where you're focusing your target audience and getting this off the ground?
Yeah, so initially it was targeting towards like, you know, people in their late 20s, early 30s who are sort of in that stage of being like, okay, I've lived enough life and now I'm trying to figure out what I really want to do. But I recently had the suggestion to target college and university communities as well. So that's another place that's something I'm considering, because I hadn't thought about that, but that was something. So it's sort of those people in transition essentially is what I've been focusing on.
Yeah. I would second the importance of opening this to university students. It's often a time of self-exploration where people are very open to that. I was also curious, what went into the design choices for that flower logo for that beginning of the slideshow?
Yeah. So this is the journey is kind of based on an ancient myth that is tied to the planet Venus. And so this is very deep, like deep dive, deep cut. And so Venus's cycle through the sky creates the 5-pointed flower. And so because this is meant to be more secular or cyclical, there we go, cyclical than linear, I wanted to create a map that kind of mimicked that journey or that sort of cycle.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Thank you.
Steve Cuomo, Santa Fe Fashion Week. I was gonna ask a Will-based question, but I thought spare advice. We talk about being on a podcast. I belong to it's called Pod Match. I think it's so you can go on there and stuff on the best. It's like a podcast.
Yeah. I haven't. I have done podcast collaborative before. But yeah, I haven't put this out there yet.
Just a thought.
Thanks. Yeah.
Morning, Amanda. My name is Raven. My company has been Your Chapter Next, but it's this Raven's View. What you're up to, I love. It's very similar to what the very base of what I'm up to. So yay. And their way of going about it is lovely. So when it comes to marketing, I heard you talk about ads and social media and also being limited in your budget.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this is my perspective. Social media has gotten a lot of attention as this is the way, but I want you to know, in my experience, just from this moment, this few minutes, you're a good presenter. And so if you can find your communities, and identify your communities and get with people, it costs you nothing.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
And secondly, if people still like, and especially what you're up to, they like to be in touch. So I think that I would encourage you to consider a little workshop, a little sample things, and then of course, make a determination of where. I mean, the colleges could be right
Yeah.
for something like this. There's, I know somebody who works, she's the community relations person for University of New Mexico. And there are a lot of initiatives inside of there, if that's one example.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Thank you.
I'm the owner of Depth Legal Professionals. And today I have a couple of questions for you. First, will you tell me, are you wanting to be virtual clients or in-person clients?
I would like to be flexible to not be rooted in one place, but I'm open to both. I find that there's benefit to in-person, and so I don't want to cut that off entirely. But I would like to have the flexibility to be able to do this wherever if I travel. So the digital clients are sort of like my ideal. But and also I feel like this is a great in-person kind of thing to experience.
And I want to picture yourself 6 to 8 months and you're back here giving us an update on how awesome your business is. And I'd like for you to tell us, after you've done that 6-month, 8-month period, who is your ideal client at that moment?
I think my ideal client is somebody who is enthusiastic, if not maybe trepidatious about their own growth experience, and who is actively engaged in the process, who feels inspired, but because they've been going through this change and they've been kind of stuck at this crossroads point of, I don't know which direction is the right one for me. I just keep sitting here at the crossroads, hoping that some divine intervention is going to tell me where to go, and looking outside of myself. And so they've come through this program where they've started this and suddenly they feel more empowered to actually make a choice on the direction that they want to go in.
I heard you say that you wanted somebody roughly 20s to 30s, kind of what you're looking for originally. I'm in my 40s and I still am looking for things. So is that something that, is it something that somebody older could come and reach with you as well?
Yes, I would say actually my initial idea was sort of like the millennial / like young Gen X set was my initial target or idea of who would actually be interested in this. So sort of like 30s to 40s mostly. But the whole point of this is an iterative process. And so you can do this once and get something out of it in your 20s. You can do it 2 years later, you can do it 5 years later, you could do it 20 years later and get a completely have a different experience with it because you're in a different stage of life. So it's all ages. In my book, it's all ages.
Ms. Rebecca Sonnenberg. I am a licensed clinical social worker also. I have Wage Behavioral Health and a nonprofit and a consulting company. My question is, have you met with West? They're a nonprofit that helps women especially start businesses and get funding, as well as SBA, which is the Small Business Association. Have you met with either of them? Okay, so those might be some good outlets to just get an idea of like feelers of like who has what, where, and who can help funnel that. There's also a place over off of like Manal, Wyoming called Slice and Dice. They do all kinds of games and pizza. So that might be a good place to also market. And then there's, I'll have to look at the name. I'll find it for you. It's on Instagram, but there's a new place here in town as well. It's like a game center where it might be also like a good place for you to just rub elbows and talk to some people. But also if you want, I have a mental health podcast that I do with my best friend who's a nurse practitioner. It's called What's in the Actual Health, Mental Health. And if you want, you can be a guest and you can talk about all your goodies and all your stuff. We'd be happy to have you. So grab me before you leave today.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sense that you've been dancing around and avoid employment and job, career path and so forth. Is that intentional or not get into that too much?
Like personally for myself or for people who do it?
For your clients.
For my clients, I think, so I would say I'm taking like a holistic approach. And so oftentimes people, they're either who are enter this kind of phase are kind of like everything's a mess and I don't know what I would want to do with my life, whether that's career or whether that's life. And they're usually influencing each other. And so I'm intentionally not specific for that reason because I want it to be open. But it is something where like, if someone's like, I don't know which career path, or I've been doing this for 30 years and now it doesn't really feel alive for me anymore and I don't know what to do about it. This can be a way to sort of recenter and regroup, and maybe you stay in the same career path, maybe you don't. But it's not meant to be specific to just one aspect of your life. It's meant to kind of give you the confidence and the clarity internally to make whatever decision is going to be most aligned for you or best.
I can appreciate that part, but from a marketing standpoint, as a lot of people in here will tell you, I'm not a marketing expert. But in terms of marketing my own business, that leaves you with some real loosey, some kind of language to try to get people to come in.
Yeah.
So that would be. But one of the thoughts that I had is if career is part of the issue, there are people out there, I'm thinking of one lady that does a lot of coaching, but her end game is to try to sell a franchise. So I sent one person to her and turns out, well, he can't afford a franchise, but still like to get a sense of where he's going so he can find a job. And a person like that might be able to send people to you. So if you thought about being in touch with people in the employment world, so that might be something that as you're able to get out and meet some of those sorts of clients.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Well, hang on. Looks like that's it for questions from you, but I have 2 questions for you. So first, what can this community do for you?
I mean, I think you've done a lot of it already. There's been some really lovely suggestions and ideas and leads, so that's great. Tell your friends, referrals are always helpful. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's really just the advice has been, and the suggestions have been the gold that I've wanted to mine today.
And then New Mexico's official state question, red or green?
Oh, I'm a red chili person. I like the smoky red kind of chili, but I will eat both.
All right, let's have another hand. Thank you.